Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video I'd like to talk about the Disney film that invariably is the one that started it all, the entire Disney legacy that Walt Disney had somewhat of an obsession with completing, the production of which took nearly the better part of a decade, and very nearly bankrupted his entire organization. Now, in the producing of this particular film, they went from producing shorts at about 10 animators per to upwards of needing to hire something like 300 by the end of this film's production. And it is, in fact, the first full-length animated feature to have been made ever. It was made in Depression era, and the news media at the time were actually referring to it as Disney's folly because they had no expectations other than that this would be a remarkable failure. And that is, of course, the timeless classic that is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the one that, as I say, started it all. There would be no Disney legacy without this particular film. There would probably be no fantasy genre of films, because in answer to the success of this particular film when it came out, MGM greenlit The Wizard of Oz, and we probably wouldn't have gotten all of those Disney legacy films from the princesses onward, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, all the way up to the 90s sort of renaissance of Disney with Aladdin and Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, all these films. It's just an amazing, amazing feat that, Walt Disney was consumed with making this, a thing, making it real. And of course, it is the one that set the template for the Disney princess films, in that you're following around Snow White, the princess, who is a very kind-hearted and, lovable person. She's kind to animals and all life and everything like that. And it's her wicked, evil stepmother of a queen who wants to be, she's very self-possessed and wants to be the most beautiful woman in all the land. She houses in her sort of boudoir a magic mirror which contains a demon spirit slave that she'll go and request of, who is the fairest in the land, and it will tell her Snow White, if Snow White is living and breathing. So she basically gets it into her head through jealousy that she's going to hire her best huntsman to kill Snow White, take her out into the woods and kill her, get rid of her. The huntsman, falls back on his better graces and tells Snow White simply to leave, get out of there, never come back, because he doesn't want to kill her. He sees the innocence that she represents, and, basically he goes back and fakes out the queen with a pig's heart, because it was one of the queen's stipulations that once you do this, bring back Snow White's heart so I know the deed is done. And of course, the queen later finds out, once Snow White has made her way into the woods in a very frightful fashion, and found the humble abode, the cottage of the Seven Dwarfs, who, take some winning over, but eventually they are won over by her and let her stay with them and everything like that. They find her very lovable, and she kind of becomes motherly to them, these diminished in size, hard-working souls. Eventually, the evil queen figures out that she is still alive and goes through a transformation of evil potions, somewhat akin to Maleficent would, in the fact that she became a dragon, but this one rather becomes sort of an ugly old lady, very witch-like, even down to the wart on the nose, and she makes Snow White, she tricks her into eating a poisoned apple, which gives her the sleep of death, so very much Sleeping Beauty-esque, but of course this is the precursor film. And it's down to a prince we saw earlier in the film to come and snap her out of it, and they live happily ever after. And I thought it was very interesting because, there's a lot of pathos and a lot of just weightiness to this story. I mean, there's a lot of course, catchy tunes from Hi-Ho to Whistle While You Work and things like that. And Someday My Prince Will Come. But there's also a level of, when Snow White dies, seeing those dwarfs sad, you feel the impact of that. And that's something they never would have believed could have been done at the time this film came out. A full-length, almost an hour and a half in length film that was completely animated from beginning to end, making you feel emotion and rocking you to the core. And it's the dwarfs who are integral in getting rid of course, the evil queen through her own devices. She falls to her death very ominously. And it's just an amazing film. This particular 2-disc set comes with a special feature that talks about an unproduced potential sequel that would have been a short called Snow White Returns, and that essentially would have seen her come back and visit the dwarfs a year later. She goes on annual visits with them, and they're very happy about it. And would have featured 2 musical numbers that were cut from this final production for length and whatever. And I just find it very interesting because, of course, there would have been no Disney legacy without this particular film if he had not had the grand success that he had. Again, they were touting it as Disney's folly. They expected nothing more than his epic failure, and he really just, it was manifest destiny. He managed to make that dream come true, and that's why I think you associate with Disney, dreams can come true. Never let go of them. That's why I love this particular film. I think it is tantamount to the fantasy genre in general and film going general, and as well as animated features and such like that. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below if you've ever seen it, if you like it or not, what your favorite Disney film is, alternative to this. And otherwise, that'll be it for me. I'll catch you later. Peace.